Before we start the podcast, I really want to thank our sponsors, 16 co-working spaces located in Marsa. They have really good facilities, amazing snacks, water, showers, desks, double monitor setups, anything you can think of. Really good location. And also they gave us 15% discount for whoever's watching the podcast or listening to the podcast. You can see the code here, which is 16CW16 Charlie Whiskey. I'll put it in the description as well, so you can check out their website. But they have really good prices. With a discount, it's even better. And I'm really glad to be partnering up with them because the podcast got so much better when we joined the forces. And now we move to the podcast.
Thanks for coming, Juliano.
Thank you for inviting me.
We were planning it for a long time. I mean, 3 weeks, I think, maybe more, a bit more. Like we said, you got sick, then I got sick, then you traveled, etc. But I really wanted to talk to you because you're like actually one of the first people who actually commented when I posted the first podcast, etc. Like you boosted the confidence, let's say, because you were like super excited about the podcast as well. So
yeah, I love this kind of content.
I'm really glad, man. I'm really glad because it's a learning curve,
It is.
but it's very interesting. You meet very interesting people, and I have quite an interesting like group of people lined up already. So it's gonna be cool.
Nice.
I'd love to start because I tend to ask people to introduce themselves in a way, like just in a few sentences, like if you can describe what you do, it's going to be obviously in the title, but just so people who listen maybe without reading the title, let's say, they know what you do.
I work with animation.
Mm-hmm.
I used to call myself animation artist because I have done so many different things inside the field of animation. So this is the like official title I give to myself. And I work with games, gaming. It's very strong in Malta, as you know. But I have done many things: advertisement, short movies, content for YouTube, DVDs. Because DVDs, maybe people don't know what DVDs. It's very old, but
not as old as VHS.
Not as old. And I did VHS.
I remember those as well. Yeah, man. I used to record cartoons to VHS.
I used to record NBA games and cartoons and movies, and usually when like Blockbuster, the video, that shop that you rented video. I never used Blockbuster because we don't have this in Brazil, but I am from that time, you know. So today I have I like to say that the start of my career is around 2000 because it's also easy to remember.
Oh my God!
But it's like 23 years working in animation and computer graphics and this kind of stuff. So it's a lot. I have done many different medias, VHS, DVD, and mostly that's it. Now I am doing more management stuff. I manage a team in Budapest, on a studio in Budapest.
Okay, remotely,
yeah.
Oh, that's a challenge in itself, I guess.
Totally.
Okay.
And it's still inside the animation. It's still something that I like to do a lot. And once in a while, I jump in on the production to get something to animate because I can't be away from that,
Just the manager. You still need to have like hands-on.
Yeah, I need for myself. I don't need for the job, but I need for myself to keep the creative side alive,
Because you need to kind of exercise the creative muscle still, right?
Yeah, I like it.
Okay, so, but right now, how would you describe yourself? Obviously, you're managing, but like from the animation point of view, are you like a generalist, you would say, or you're like specifically? Because I know you do character animation. also sculpting. I've seen you do like a bit of sculpting in 3D, right? So I don't know if you're like in a particular area of animation or like you're a generalist more.
I was a generalist in computer graphics for most of my career because I used to say that to people that don't know very well how things works in Brazil, but people that started when I started, we don't have much access to technology, and we don't have YouTube at that time, of course. So if you want to go this computer graphics career path, you have to be a generalist. You had to be at the time. So it's a lot of self-teaching. You have to learn stuff by yourself. So this made me a generalist at the time. And it was something that I really liked because I'm curious. I like to know stuff and learn new stuff. So for me, it was like the obvious way. But like 7-8 years ago, I realized I need to be a very specific with character animation because it's the thing that I wanted more. And at the time, I was planning to go out Brazil because I want to have new experiences on my career. And for me to match what the industry demands, I had to be like a character animator only.
They needed a lot of character animators. But this is like one of the most tedious animation jobs, actually.
Tedious.
Right? Yeah, like I mean, it's very detailed. You know, like to animate a character, there's because I did a bit of like keyframes, things as well, like in 3D, in After Effects, etc. And I know that I would never even probably attempt to animate a character because I know how much work it is just to make like one cycle of walking, let's say. Obviously there's like plugins, presets, etc. But like if you do it from scratch, it's like insane amount of time.
I can tell you when I as a generalist, I used to animate characters as well, but not when I started studying really in deep character animation, I realized how hard it is. Because it's not just the mechanics, it's not just the tool, the software, but you have to think in intention, motivation. Then you have to analyze the character, go deep on the mind of the character. If there is another character on the scene, you have to think about that. So it's not just the job of creating motion with the character. You have to think all the psychological aspects of
and like exaggerate the movements is a lot in animation, right?
And you have this variation if it is cartoony, if it is realistic. So it's completely different mechanics. It's based on the same principles always, even if you are animating like this glass to be like a humanoid. Animation is based on the same principles for everybody, for any kind of media. But the different from like good to excellent is how deep you go on these small details,
Yeah, that's true.
How you can manage the technical, but also the psychological aspects of the animation.
It's interesting because I think yesterday, maybe a couple of days ago, Unreal Engine, obviously, they released this new feature. Did you see face animation? So basically you film yourself saying words, whatever, and then it transfers it to MetaHuman. And it does it like perfectly, just from the like selfie video of your, like you scan, I think, your face, you show it, then the software obviously molds the face, etc. But it's when, because you said you started from like 2000, so I assume you started from maybe like even stop motion things.
Stop motion is like the dreamland for me. I never did it, but for me it's like the apex of animation, because a stop motion animator, they don't have the tools that we have in digital.
Yeah.
They can't like scrub the timeline to see how the movement is happening. They need to go frame by frame without seeing the next pose. So of course they plan what they want to do, but come on, when you have to animate a full character or even a scene with like 3 or 4 characters, the same animator does that. Not always, but it's very hard, you know. But it's something that I really like to do.
Do you think
in the future, maybe I want to study that.
Do you think it's kind of dying in the way just because of all the technology development, etc.?
Not at all.
You think it's gonna stick around?
Yeah, for sure.
Because this is very specific kind of animation, like takes loads of patience.
Yeah,
obviously.
But what is nice, because we have seen from the last years the rise of the 3D printing.
Yeah.
And stop motion is using that a lot. And what is nice about stop motion nowadays, that it uses, it's still stop motion, you have to craft pose by pose, but it uses a lot of digital aids, like for backgrounds, for chroma key, they use a lot of chroma key. And for the faces, the mount poses and expressions, they have all printed in 3D.
Ah, okay. So they just replace them basically.
Yeah. So it's not like plasticine that you know, kids
Which
stuff.
was actual sculpting basically.
Like Artman.
Live.
Artman, they still do like plasticine animation, but it's like their signature. But most of the big studios like Leica, they use like all printed, and then the guys paint by hand some objects in the
so like just to build one frame, they can spend like a few hours, maybe a few days, if it's a very complex frame.
Yeah. Did you watch it, Pinocchio, on Netflix?
No, but I was gonna say there's this music video with stop motion by Sia, Snowman, I think it's called. I don't know if you saw it, but I think it's plasticine.
Plasticine,
yeah. I think it's plasticine, but it's pure stop motion, and it's such a nice story.
Yeah.
I think because if you didn't see it, you would be probably interested to see it. Because
this clay animation, I like it because you have to craft it. So you feel the human part on it. But you watch things like Pinocchio from Guillermo del Toro, it's on Netflix, and you understand that's why stop motion is not dying. And you see like different studios that's still doing that at a very high level now. So it's not dying for sure.
And stop motion and miniatures, that's a different area, right? Because I just thought about let's say how they did Star Wars, you know, back in the day when they did the first few movies, they used miniatures.
They use both actually.
So it's stop motion and modeling the miniature models basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
The miniature is still handcrafted. They still use it in few productions nowadays. Probably mostly printed.
Yeah.
But Star Wars is something that I think is one of my biggest influences.
Really?
To do what I do today.
Oh, we're on the opposite. We're on the opposite kind of sides, because I haven't seen single Star Wars movie from the beginning to the end. You know, like I know certain scenes, but I haven't watched. I know there are people who are massive fans. Obviously, it's a big franchise, you know. But like they go to Comic Cons, whatever, dress up as a Darth Vader or you know. But I don't know. Like I never felt drawn to that story. Like I know the characters, Han Solo, right? Like Chewbacca, like of course. But I never got drawn into that story. I don't know why. I mean, obviously it's massive. It's massive movie.
But I am a very nerdy person, so I like this kind of content.
Good.
Sci-fi, I love it. Sci-fi, and I am from the I think the first Star Wars that I remember. I never watched it like in the movie theater, but I remember. I think it's 81 or early 80s. I remember the Return of the Jedi. It's like the third movie, the original movie, and that caught my attention because I grew up in a very, very small city. We don't have like bookshops, we don't have like video stores, we don't have magazines, we don't have access to most of these things. And for the most of the country, at the time, we have like 4 channels, open channels in television that everybody can watch. So the access that we have for pop culture is very limited. And I always be like this creative person. I like to draw since I was a very little kid, and to build stuff and to create my own toys, this kind of stuff. So when I saw that, and it's all handcrafted, that captured me immediately.
Okay.
At the point that, of course, I didn't know it was possible, like to work in something like that. But when I went to high school, I was planning to do like mechanics, engineering mechanics, and that's because of Star Wars. Because I watched that making-ofs, that they show the miniatures and the robots and stop motion, and I want to do mechanics not to work with motors and cars and this kind of stuff, but to build robots, to build miniatures.
Okay.
Even Brazil doesn't have an industry that can absorb that. But this is the level of passion that I got at the time. Okay. So sci-fi stuff, I love this kind of stuff because people used to be very creative to did what they do, you know. And that resonates with me a lot, because I like crafting stuff, you know.
So you would say, like, if we go chronologically in like your childhood, like Star Wars, that was the inspiration on the whole animation journey kind of thing, right?
Then I start to look for more content like that, you know. And we have like anime, Japanese, and then later started that I don't know the name in Japanese, but you know that Japanese heroes like Jaspion, Changeman, and I don't know if you remember that because it's very old.
From anime, the only
I don't know if it was a thing in Europe.
I know a few things, like, but I know a few cartoons that I used to watch as well from Japan, like Samurai X. I think there was
Samurai X.
Yeah, like that was on TV in Lithuania back when I was a kid, you know. There were like all the like Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. I don't know if that's Japanese actually.
Yeah, maybe it's American. I don't know either.
Yeah, but it was like it was drawn in anime style for sure, you know. So
this is more my younger brother generation. I was before that even.
Okay.
Even
how old is your younger brother?
How old it is? 5 years, 41, I guess.
Okay.
No.
So yeah,
40,
closer to me for sure. Closer to me.
Yeah.
Okay, and so you said you're from a very small, not even a city, a town, I would say.
Yeah, very, very small.
Okay. And then once the animation passion started, you obviously did something in high school, etc. And then what followed next? Like you went to university somewhere to study it, a college or something?
I left my town to study on the closest city.
What's the closest city to where you lived?
It was like 200 kilometers from my city. It's called Vitoria.
Okay.
And then this is where I started the mechanical course.
So you actually took the course?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. It's supposed to be like 4 years, but I did like 3 because the 3 is the equivalent for the high school. And on the 4th year, you go like deep in mechanics. But then in the middle, I discovered that math and physics, they beat me so hard along this. Then I decided, no, this is definitely not what I want to do. And then I discovered that I could do like more artistic and creative stuff, like visual stuff. And then I was planning to go to advertisement and on this search, I discovered graphic design.
Okay.
I could go for graphic design. So this matches everything I was done before, because I was studying like more technical stuff with math and physics and chemistry, but I was always drawing everything that I can draw. I remember this is the time when basketball presented to me, because it was Jordan time. The 90s.
Yeah.
And then I was amazed by NBA logos, and I spent all the time in the school drawing the logos. And then I start playing basketball, and it's very visual. NBA is very visual. So
which was your favorite logo? Do you remember?
at the time, it was the New York Knicks.
Oh yeah, blue and orange.
Yes, with a height perspective, a blocky perspective,
Yeah. Okay.
The Chicago Bulls, you have the Bull. And I love them all because they are very different. I remember Houston Rockets. It has a rocket.
Yeah. Now it changed. I think it's not the same.
Yeah, it's more stylized, I guess. But it was like, oh my God, this is very awesome. So I can work doing like logos and this kind of stuff. So I decided to go after high school to college. I decided to go graphic design. Yeah. And then in the middle of graphic design, I discovered animation. Then I finished the course, of course. But in the middle, every homework or assignment that I could do with animation, I did by myself. Usually, I used to study alone because I was the only one that was looking for that direction.
Everyone else just happened to be in that course.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I started digging deeper for animation.
Did actually lecturers noticed that you're actually interested in what you're learning?
Yeah, they noticed because everything that I delivered, it was like in a VHS tape, and later on a DVD disc. Okay. So they knew it because
they noticed the effort at least.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And I was very disappointed because like on the closer to the end of the course, I had a subject that is animation actually, and the teacher was awful. Yes.
Awful skills wise, or just as a
everything.
Teacher.
She didn't like much to teach you good stuff. I think because she was like afraid of you getting better than she was,
Okay.
So she was very limited in what she teaches. And at the time, I had already access to a computer and 3D software, and I used to talk to her to not go into the class because the final assignment, it was like a short animation, and the college was very poor. They don't have like computer rooms and this kind of stuff. I remember they had like a photography classes, and they have like a old school lab that you have to take the pictures and go into the liquids.
Oh, okay. With the chemicals, yeah.
Yeah, the chemicals. And when they decided to open a computer room to be more modern, they had to shut down the photography. And for me, the photography was much more interesting because the computer stuff, I was a little bit advanced compared to my colleagues. And we have this teacher that was not that good. So I came to an agreement with her that I could stay at home, work on my stuff, my assignment, and I don't need to go to the classes.
Okay. So the college was the first time you actually animated using computer, or you did it before?
It was the same time, but I was doing that at home.
Okay.
Because I love technology and I was very nerdy, so I was looking for that for myself, not because school demanded that.
I wonder what computers are we talking at the time? Pentium 4 probably. I remember Pentium
3,
4s,
I guess.
like 64 megabytes of RAM or something,
yeah,
right?
yeah. It's a very low-end computer, but still it runs like 3ds Max, and After Effects it was like 6,
After Effects
5 or 6.
5.5. That's the first version that I used, so it must have been even before that.
Yeah, I don't know because I have a version, but I honestly I don't know if it was the newest one or an older one. I just got a version.
Okay, you actually like legal version, or
No,
you?
of course not.
where did you get it from? Like, I don't know, at the time there were torrent websites already.
No. The internet was at the very beginning.
Wild West.
Even if they have torrent sites, I don't think they have. But the connection speed was so low that you can't like download like 3 gigabytes something. It will take you like a week to download that. So
yeah, okay.
What happened at the time that you have this you can find it on newspaper numbers of people that sell this stuff. They have like CD rooms, they burn softwares. Usually they sell the CD with like 20 softwares or something like that.
Yeah, okay.
So you find these numbers on the newspaper and you call the guy delivers this to you, and that's it. You don't know the guy don't know you, and that's it.
Wow.
But
what a time.
Yes. And then, of course, later I get access to the legal everything. But at the time, it was the way that we can try to learn stuff.
Okay, it's so weird because I don't remember this kind of hustle. I think when I started being interested in technology, I remember there was already torrent websites. We used to use FTP servers.
FTP, I use it a lot.
Which was like insane speed because it's like local server for the internet provider. At least that's how it worked in our city, you know. So it was like I would download a movie in like 5 seconds, you know. It was insane speeds because we already had the fiber optics.
Yeah.
So it was
no. In Brazil, it was like
you still use dial-up. Like I never used dial-up.
Yes,
I never used it
a lot. And we have this. It's not a hack, but it counts like pulses on the phone line, and it charges you by pulses, like every 2 minutes, I guess, or every interval of time.
Yeah.
But if you use that between midnight and 6 a.m., it's like 1 pulse, so it's very cheap. And if you use it like from 12 a.m. of Friday until 6 in the morning on Monday. It's 1 pulse. The problem is that the connection was really fragile, so it keeps going down and you have to reconnect. But it was like that. You use internet like in the middle of the night and on the weekends.
But it keeps the download, like the download pauses, or you lose the whole process?
At the beginning, you lose it. But later, they invented this software that can resume downloads.
Okay.
So you
that
start and then you go 1 month to download the big stuff. I remember when the first trailer of The Matrix came out, and also episode 1 from Star Wars. And we used to keep waiting for downloads because we don't have streaming at the time, so you have to download like a QuickTime movie.
Yeah.
And of course we want to watch it on the better resolution possible, so it's like days for downloading
better resolution possible at the time was like 720 probably.
Exactly.
Man, like now you would even like not touch it, you know, like if it's 720, I don't want to hurt my eyes, you know?
I remember the trailer for The Matrix. I had backups of the trailer because it was so beautiful and giant. It was like CRT monitors, like those big heavy boxes
with a long back.
Yeah. And to have one at home, the affordable one, it was like 14, maximum 17 inches. So completely different.
Do you remember the filters, the flip-on filters that they used to have?
Yes.
I don't know what they were filtering. Do you know what those filters?
It's the UV light, I guess.
The blue light.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that worked.
Because I remember my mom, where she used to work, she used to have the CRT monitor, and as a kid, I really liked to like flip that thing up and down, you know.
I don't know how it was in Lithuania, but in Brazil we have a lot of myths, like video games. We have Atari.
That's a console, no?
Yeah. But we have this thing that you can't keep it on too much because it can burn your TV. Yeah. So the parents let you play, but from time to time you have to turn it off because it was too hot or it will broke the TV somehow. So
I think parents came up with this, not kids for sure.
Probably. Because if it depends on us, we spend the day playing. So
this, like, even the video games, right? I guess for you it was another thing, like, you can do this with animation.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So Atari was the first, let's say, a video game platform that you had? You owned it, no? Or you just saw it somewhere in the beginning?
No. I have one.
Okay.
Me and my brothers, we had one. Then I jumped from Atari to Mega Drive.
That's Sega? No?
Sega.
Yeah.
Sega. I never had a Nintendo. Everybody loves Nintendo, but I never had one.
Even me. I had Sega. That's about it.
Before
Never
Mega
had a
Drive?
PlayStation. Never had a PlayStation.
Really?
Yeah. Now I have an Xbox, but I use it more as a smart TV rather than gaming console.
I know what you're talking about because I had the first PlayStation. I was married already. I have kids, and then I had all of them. I guess the second, the third, my PS4 I use like that for Netflix and Amazon. It stays on my room, and I just use for that.
Yeah,
but this last week I got a PS5.
Yeah, I actually saw your post that you were playing something.
And then I installed it on the living room, so. My daughters can play, I can play, and it's a big TV. But in my room, the PS4 is like a media center.
Yeah.
So for movies and this kind of stuff.
I remember that time, like when like PS1 came out, PS2. You know, PS1 was so ugly, all like squarish. I remember, and like my classmates had it, and we used to go and play with it. But my parents, they were never, fans of video games. And this is the reason even now I have so many friends from my generation that are very heavy into video games. Like that's their hobby, that's their way to relax. And for me that seems like waste of time. And I think it's partially because I never had consoles constantly. Like I had Sega and then no PlayStation consoles, and then I got the PC straight away,
Yeah.
And another thing, I think that's the curiosity. Like that's why the curiosity came for me to technology-wise and computer-wise, because I got the PC even very late compared to my classmates, and I was like so interested. You can play, you can make music, because it was already at the time, I think like Celeron CPUs, so it's not Pentium, like it's better already, So you could do more, and I think that helped a lot with curiosity, because my other friends, they were already very used to having consoles and computers, etc. And like you lose interest, I would say.
No, for me it was every piece of technology that I get through the life, it was like a new world that opened. Like computers. When I got computer, I wasn't in college. I was starting college when I got my first computer. So it was like, oh my God, you can do anything.
Yeah.
And then I remember when I saw the first PS1 games, 3D, I said, oh my God, I can control this. I didn't know you can work with that. Of course, I know it is an industry, but oh my God, this is very amazing. And then PS2, they evolved the games. And then I started paying more attention in storytelling, because the games became so complex And now I was playing Horizon Zero Dawn with the PS5.
Okay.
And the amount of story that you have inside the game, it's like you are playing a movie or you are playing a book.
It's better than some blockbuster movies, I would say, story-wise, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a gamer, like I said, but I know, for example, the Witcher, that was a big hit story-wise. And what was the other one I heard? Dark Souls. That was a game.
Yeah.
That had like really good story, and Red Redemption.
Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, that one I heard as well. I haven't played them.
You have like God of War. You have like very complex storytelling in video games, and that's something that attracts me a lot. I'm not a gamer. I talk a lot about video games, but I am not a gamer at all because I don't have much time.
For you, it's more from the professional perspective.
It is professional. Right? It's the same problem that I have watching movies, because I have to watch the same movie like twice or 3 times.
To analyze?
Yeah, because one of these times I am analyzing what's happening, how they did that, how they build this, animate that, the special effects. And one of the times I am more deep in story, this kind of stuff. I like to read, I like to write. So storytelling is something that, and as an animator, this is another side of animation, storytelling, that get me like instantly. So you can draw and you can tell your story. And this links to comics. So, and comics links to books, and books links to games, and RPG and video games and everything. So it's like a full circle of cool stuff.
So like from, let's say, the last very impressive movie that you saw, animation-wise, like from your professional point of view that you analyzed and you were like, wow, you know, like do you remember anything like that recently?
Yes. I think the biggest one that impacted me most, it was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. That they are releasing the second one now. And I watched it like 2 weeks ago, the last trailer for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, that I'm a big fan as well.
Okay.
And it is like, I did a review on my YouTube channel because I like that so much, because it is 3D, but if you watch it, it's like sketchy. It's like painted.
Okay. Like textured in a way.
Yeah, it's amazing. I never saw at that level before. I told you Spider-Verse because it's a movie, but after Spider-Verse, there is this series on Netflix. I don't know if you watch it, Arcane.
Arcane, no. I have Netflix, but I haven't watched it, no.
Man, it's something...
What's that about?
It is part from the lore of League of Legends.
League of Legends, I know it's a massive game that they have like even world championships, right?
Yes.
I
never
it's like
played
Diablo kind of thing, right?
Yes,
like strategic, but the point of view is like
top bottom camera.
Yeah.
And then you have to assemble teams and do something. I never played it.
I haven't as well. I've seen highlights of the World Championship. I remember somewhere, and it's like the way those guys move their fingers and use the skills. Because I used to play Lineage. I don't know if you know Lineage.
Yeah, I know.
A lot of people played World of Warcraft. I played Lineage. I was on the other side.
All right.
Man, I not sacrificed. I mean, I enjoyed it, but it took me like 2 years of no lifing, basically. You know, like
it's
8 to 10 hours a day.
It's very dangerous, actually.
It's very dangerous, very addictive. Good experience in general. I mean, because I'm still in touch with a few people that I met on the server. You know,
nice.
But it takes a lot of time, and the outcome, like, I don't know. You learn maybe something, but really, it's. Again, it's a bit of a waste of time, probably, unless you actually relax, whatever, you know. It's your hobby, you know. Yeah, exactly. I'm not judging, but at the time I was in high school and it didn't help with my grades, trust me.
But I was when I saw the first trailer of Arcane, I never played League of Legends. I know the game because it's part of my industry. and they have like more than 100 heroes that you can play with. Every hero has its own powers and weakness and this kind
skills,
of stuff. It's very complex, his story, backstory. And then it came the first trailer, and then I was like instantly captured by that, because it's like painted also, but different from the Ninja Turtles. The Ninja Turtles is like a sketchbook, rough painting, and Arcane is like fine painting, like
very detailed
masterpieces. And you can pause it's a series, like 8 episodes. They are producing the second season now. You can pause at any time you want. It's like a masterpiece. It's like very well crafted.
Starting from like framing to details and drawing everything.
Everything, character design, lighting, everything. So I never played League of Legends, but the story is so good, so well crafted. Even the music, everything is so in place that it's something that after Spider-Verse, I don't know if you watched Spider-Verse.
I've watched Spider-Man. I'm not sure which Spider-Verse is. Is that the one that starts in Italy and ends in London?
No, this is the movie. I'm talking about the animation.
So no, I haven't seen it. I've seen all the movies probably. Maybe the last one I haven't seen.
No, the animation is very good, man. If you have the chance to watch it, go for it. Go for it. Even if you don't know much of Spider-Man,
I know the story. I mean,
you love it because visually is like an explosion. It's something that you never watched before, for sure. And then came Arcane. That's also like it's 3D, but it's like painted 2D, but very well refined. And then now I watched the Ninja Turtles, and it's amazing. It's nice to see where the industry is going, because we have a time not long ago that people are calling that like the Pixar. I don't remember the name, but they invented names for everything. It's like every movie, CG movie, looks like Pixar.
Pixar
is Toy Story.
Yeah.
Finding Nemo.
But Pixar, I think it's part of Apple. No, I think Apple are either co-owners.
Yes.
They somehow related to Steve Jobs and Apple.
Disney,
I know
I
that.
Guess.
Yeah. Okay.
They are together. They always have been together because Disney did the distribution of the movies, but they reached a level that they became like the reference of the industry. So every studio wants to do something like Pixar because they are like 10 steps ahead. And then all the movies start looking like Pixar visually. And Disney also trying to enter, because Disney is traditional for their 2D movies, and then they started doing 3D, and then they merge with Pixar, and the industry wants to do something like that. And now we are seeing like the industry going in another direction visually. Still 3D, still CG, but much more creative, in my opinion. Like Spider-Verse, if you watch it, it is like hand-painted textures, and it looks like a comic book.
Okay.
Even the texture with the small dots that you have in comics because of the printing.
Yeah.
They use that on the language of the movie, so the story is nice, but the visual, it's something that you never watched before.
Okay, because you mentioned Pixar, I remember. There was some rumors that Pixar even have their own animation software.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah,
like they built a software so they can achieve a certain look. I read it somewhere. I'm not sure if it's true, but
they invest a lot of money in research, so that's why they are like 10 steps ahead of everybody. And then when they release these new technologies, like clothing to be more realistic, hair and shading, like skin shading and lighting in general, and they have their own animation software. And this is not something unusual today. Most studios they have something like, it's very exclusive. But Pixar invested a lot in technology, and it's nice because later, when they do what they want to do with technology, they used to open that for the industry. So they keep part of the knowledge, but they share a lot. So the industry advanced.
I always thought that, I mean, Pixar was the first one that I heard that they might have some sort of custom software. I always thought like all the other, let's say all the animation studios, they use, I don't know, After Effects, Cinema 4D, you know, like software that is accessible to me or you, you know, like we can buy that software.
The massive part of the industry, they use Maya. And they customize Maya with their own tools because Maya is very open to programming, so you can expand Maya a lot. You can do that with Blender and most of the software nowadays. But I guess, if I am not mistaken, Pixar started with Maya, but they expanded so hard that they built their own tool.
Okay, it makes sense. I mean, and if they're like the biggest, one of the biggest in the industry, I mean, to invest to have something
it makes sense.
That accelerates your workflow.
And they have like the head of Pixar. I don't know if it is the head anymore, the president, but he has like a very nice book about creativity. It's called Creative Incorporated. This guy invented most of the stuff that we use today in computer graphics. Is still alive. So
really? What do you mean? Like what?
Like
invented, for example?
Alpha Channel.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
The 3D technology itself, like creating polygons and applying texture to polygons. This guy invented that.
Wow.
People at ILM, sorry. ILM is the one that created Star Wars.
Yeah, that's Industrial Light and Magic.
Yeah. The guy that invented Photoshop still works there. Yeah. So then you realize it looks like these tools are here for forever.
Yeah.
But they are very new, and the technology evolves so fast that we lost this track of time.
It's one lifetime of a person.
Yeah.
You know, everything from the day that someone got the idea till what we have now, it's just one lifetime of some person. You know?
Most of this softwares like Photoshop, it was invented because they needed something that didn't exist before. This is something that linked me, that related me with Star Wars so much as well, because Star Wars was not possible to be done at that time. And the guys invented a way to do that.
Yeah. And
then they became like masters of the industry because everyone wants to use their technology after that.
ILM got, they built ILM for Star Wars, right?
Yes.
Like the company got started because of the Star Wars. And it's part of Lucasfilms, I think, still, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard of ILM because obviously I think they're based in London, if I'm not mistaken. They have
they have offices in many places. Singapore. The main headquarters is in San Francisco, I guess.
Okay. Wow, I didn't know the Photoshop fact, you know, because I thought Photoshop, part of Adobe, so whoever invented.
John No, the guy.
Okay.
It's two brothers, actually. John No, and I don't remember the other one. The brothers No. And the guys are still around. It's very impressive.
Really impressive. I thought Photoshop, well, I mean, when you think about it logically, like it cannot be like 150 years old, because you can Google the first version and just see when it happened. And obviously, like 30 years, I would say maybe even less. I don't know when actually Photoshop came out.
I don't remember, to be honest.
Yeah, I've seen screenshots of all Adobe like software that they had, you know, the first versions. Oh my god, man!
I can't complain of the time that I lived, that I'm living now, because I saw the evolution of the technology. Like for a nerd, it's something out of this world.
And it accelerated so much, you know.
Like so fast.
When you think about it, if you were born like 100 years ago,
it's crazy.
I'm not even talking about animation. It's like basic life stuff.
Everything. If you take a person and travel time for nowadays from 100 years back, this guy will.
Yeah, you wouldn't
heal
survive
himself.
a week probably.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Obviously, let's get back to the college. The college happened, you graduated obviously, but animation was the main thing that you focused on, right? And then after college, you got the job somewhere in Brazil?
Actually, my first, I was very into, of course, animation, but I was very into in technology. So the first job that I got, it was like a web designer.
Really? So
Yeah.
you know code?
I
Or
knew
it's
at the
design?
time, I learned HTML by myself.
What's HTML?
It's like the markup language of any web page.
Do you mean HTML?
HTML.
HTML, yeah, okay.
What did I say?
Because you said ATML, so I thought it's
right.
for
Yeah,
alpha,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Okay, HTML, yeah.
Brazilian accent.
Yeah, HTML and CSS, they go kind of hand in hand,
At
no?
the time that I learned
HTML, yes. Now you're very conscious about that.
There wasn't CSS.
Okay.
I remember I found like a manual of a dial-up modem that my older brother got, and the last pages it was like a course.
How to program it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I take that book one day and I was just passing through the pages and oh my God, they are teaching how to do web pages. And then I sit on the computer, my brother's computer, and I open a notepad and I started doing that, copying the book, you know. And then I opened that file on the browser, Netscape at the time. And it loaded what I write here. So I started digging deeper. And at the time that I got this job, it was like at the end of college, at the middle of college. It's still being done by hand. You don't have like Dreamweaver. That
like
is
autocomplete.
Yeah, no. It was like by hand. And I like that because I like technology and computers and anything related to that. And then after that, I started doing, it was like internship at the time. And then after that, I started doing freelance and doing my own stuff just for learning. And then it was the time that I got the 3ds Max. Okay. And I start digging more into animation, you know.
Again, same guy delivered the CD?
Again, yeah. And then I start knowing people because I was living in another different town from my high school at the time. Because graphic design, you have like 4 places in Brazil that has like college for graphic design. So I moved to another city to be able to do that. And then I start to know more people. And I was very lucky. If I look back to my life, the people that I met, they opened up a lot of doors for me, you know. I met this guy. He was much older than me, and he was like a copywriter for advertisement.
Okay.
But he was a writer as well, and he was an artist as well. And he did a lot of stuff at the same time, like creative stuff. And he invited me to work with him because he liked technology, but he didn't know nothing about it. So I went to work. It was on his apartment, and the guy has like a library with like 3,000 books because he was a writer and he writes for advertisement, so he needs to know about a lot of stuff. And we didn't have Google at the time.
Yeah. So he had
Wikipedia,
Google at home.
So he was like very old school, you know. And I remember even in advertisement agencies, when you have to do like a mock-up of something that you need to print, like a newspaper or something like that, you have to do that by hand.
Yes, yeah.
Pasting stuff and cutting with the knife, very, very old school. So I see people doing that like in front of me, and I like to craft stuff since I was a kid. So it was like doors that gave me a lot of experience in different areas. And then with this guy, I learned. He taught me about research, the importance of researching to do your job, whatever job you are doing. I try to keep that going with my daughters. My other daughter is doing like kind of the same path that I am doing. She's doing like game art, of course, upgraded from my time.
Of course, yeah. She started where you like almost finished your education, exactly, probably, you know.
Exactly. And I keep stressing this to her. The difference that you have on your job is on research. It's not exactly on your technique drawing
skills.
You know? Yeah. But if you are creating a character that doesn't has a proper background, it doesn't have like a reason for get his accessories, the way he dresses and everything. You have to create the world for this character to live in, you know. So it comes from research, watching movies, reading books, and this kind of stuff. So it was nice. I met this guy and I started like evolving even faster. And then I started doing freelance with 3D modeling, and then with animation. And then I keep doing freelance like for I don't know how many years, but a lot of years. And then I met this production house. They were looking to do like a DVD for kids. And they wanted to do like 3D. We can, at the time, I don't remember the year, sorry. I'm awful with dates and names and this kind of stuff. But they were looking for someone to do that. And I was looking for a job on a production house, like video something. And I built a very simple portfolio with some simple animation. And it happens at the same time. They were looking for someone, and I was visiting them to give them my portfolio. And then, oh my God, this guy does that, and we need that. And then they got me the job. I started doing that. This evolved. I did like 4 or 5 DVDs for them.
All for kids? Or?
All for kids, yeah.
And sorry, when you said freelancing, did you mean you were building websites and doing 3D stuff?
Graphic design stuff. Graphic design stuff. A little bit of 3D because I was still learning.
Okay. So like a lot of things at once.
Yes. Okay. All my life I did a lot of things at once.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean, man. I'm the same.
It's something I like because even today
it's diversity. I mean,
I am managing a team, and once in a while I get animation to be like keep animating. But I still do freelance from time to time. But different stuff that I do on my job, just to keep the creative spark, rolling. Because it's something that you can't. If you left it alone, you lose it somehow.
Yes.
Maybe you don't lose the techniques, but the thinking,
The thinking, it's not that sharp. And then I think you lose maybe the tendencies of the industry. Like you...
Exactly. The trends.
You kind of fall behind a bit.
Yeah.
With understanding of what's current,
And nowadays everything is so fast. You have to watch a lot of stuff and see a lot of stuff.
And so 5 DVDs, that's all 3D and all for kids,
and these
right?
5 DVDs led me to being hired for this company of the DVDs. Until now, I was doing like a freelance for a production house. And these guys, they are clients of the production house that hired me to do the DVDs.
Yeah.
And then after 4 or 5, this client hired me internally to work internally with them, and they give me the chance to like build a team around me. And then I stay at this place like for 2 or 3 years. I did more 2 or 3 DVDs, I don't remember. And at the time I was still doing freelance, and I have a lot of requests because this city that I was living, it was a big city. It's the exact size of Malta.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the name of the...
Belo Horizonte.
Okay.
Translating is like a beautiful horizon.
Okay, so I guess it had beautiful views.
Yes, it is.
Just one of the directions was...
Yeah, it's like the third biggest city in Brazil.
Okay.
So it's not that big.
First 2 is Brazil and Rio?
First is São Paulo.
São Paulo, then
the second, to be honest, I don't know. I don't know if it's Rio, Rio is really big. But Belo Horizonte was not so big, so it's like in the middle. But the downside of that is that the industry in Brazil is not that big. So the main movement of the industry in Brazil is São Paulo and Rio for sure, because it is where the big TV channels are, the big advertisement agencies are. They are around that, and you have like separated points that you can still live doing that. So I was living in Belo Horizonte, and since it's not so big, I was people start hearing my name. So I had a lot of requests aside this job that I was doing with the DVDs. So it came to a point that I decided, well, I can't handle that by myself.
It's just too much.
Yeah.
No social life, nothing. You just work.
Yeah. It was not beautiful. Then I decided to leave this company, and this team, they were my friends. They were actually colleagues of my brother from college. My brother also did graphic design.
Okay.
So and these people, like, it was 3 guys, I guess, or my brother and 2 guys. They had the same thinking of learn by themselves, so they are very curious and they are very good with art. So I decided to gather them. I said, guys, we had a chance to do something here. I am planning to leave the company, open my own company, my own animation studio, and I will try to talk with this client so we can get them as our main client to keep the
the
money
account
flowing, while we build the brand or the company. If you want to come with me, we have a lot of freelance coming. And then I had an agreement with them. If we have money, we have money. If we don't have money, we don't have money. But we are trying to do our own stuff. And they join, and then I leave the company, and then that's where I open my own studio.
So meaning, if we don't have money, we don't have money. Like
because we have this client of the DVDs, but this project happened like once per year.
Okay.
So we have work for 4 months, 5 months, and then the rest is freelancing coming in. So I need a team to do that because it was a lot. And then I told them, apart from this client that we have,
we have no stable income, basically.
We don't have, exactly. We have what we can get in as a freelance. And it works pretty well for almost 10 years.
10 years?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
8 years, I guess, when I shut down.
They were freelancing in their own right, I guess, right? Or they were bringing their freelance into the company as well?
No.
It's just your freelance that was coming in?
Yeah, it started with my freelance, but after very few years, the name of the studio started getting known by everybody. So it has this. I kept my freelance clients, but they understood that they were hiring now animation studio, not me.
So the price obviously goes up a bit. It's not just
not
one
that
person.
bit, because this was a very important lesson that I did, that keep things personal is not good for the business. So these past clients that were like mine, freelance clients, they understood that I did the move to open the studio, but they expect me to charge as a freelancer. And we have a relationship.
You have all the overhead stuff that you need to pay.
I tried over the years. I tried to balance to make it work for both, for me and for them, and for the studio, of course.
How did the previous job reacted when you left? Because you became direct competitor in the way, right?
Not direct competitor, because they don't have like much competition in what they were doing with these DVDs. Okay. Later, they had, but I was not working for them anymore. But at the time, we had created already a relationship, And with that, a dependency as well. I think this helps a lot because they trust me to do the project. If they let me go and hire another person, that is the risk of the project lose some qualities. And I know how things work. I know the directors. Yes. I know how to film the studio, because it was like a real person, a real background, and the characters in CG. So I have match moving, chroma key sometimes, and this is studio stuff, you know. So I know already how to do all this stuff. So if they got someone new, and at the city we don't have much studios that can do that, and the ones that can were very expensive. So I guess we created like a dependency between ourselves. That kind of worked for a time.
And the client, your main client, was he like that company? Was it from that same city?
Yeah, same city.
Okay,
yeah.
But you had obviously, I guess, work coming in from all over Brazil, no? Or at the time it wasn't
not all
that
over, because Rio and São Paulo, it's very hard to. It's like a separated industry themselves. So I used to get like smaller jobs. Because the jobs in Rio and São Paulo, they went to the big agencies because it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So it's very hard for someone outside to get in, you know. But at the other hand, we have the local media, and I was lucky that I met this guy that he has like a studio as well, a video with like yours, cameras and everything, and they used to do like content for the educational channel of the government.
Educational channel of the government?
Yeah, they have a channel that is more, it's called TV Escola. It's like TV school.
Okay, so it's for kids, no?
It's not only for kids. They have stuff for kids, but it's more like, how do I call this? Like education stuff.
Okay, but it's not like brainwashing.
No.
It's not like political.
No. Thing. It's education, like biology, chemistry.
Okay.
Like discovery.
Like science channel, basically.
Science channel, exactly.
Okay.
And of course, they had this history and this kind of stuff. And they used to do a lot of motion graphics and cutout animation. And we find a synergy to work together. So I could work less for advertisement, that I didn't like it, and work more with like this diverse production. So we have the DVDs that it was not mainstream media, and we have this production for this channel. It was a very small channel because it's government stuff. People don't watch it. They like Big Brother and mainstream media, this kind of stuff. So. They are not that popular, but they produce it very nice stuff, and they use a lot of motion graphics and animation. So I like to do that
because they need to like recreate events, I guess, you know, especially for history.
And you are telling story of historical personalities and telling stories of a lot of stuff. How the cycle of water works, this kind of stuff, you know. So you have to build diagrams and.
Okay.
You can be creative with this.
Yeah. As complex as you want, basically. It can be very simple, it can be very complicated.
Exactly. And it pays well. And I didn't like much advertisement because the pressure was too high. And the directors, the ego of the art directors, and I think it's the same worldwide. So I tried not to work too much for advertisement because I have less freedom, creative freedom, and the pressure. It's always for yesterday. When you need that, I need that for last week. and it didn't come with the time machine.
Yeah, and so you cannot. Really
it was stressful, you know.
You cannot really enjoy the creative process if you're stressed so much about the project.
Yeah.
So it's either you do creative part and you have someone to manage the project, so you don't have to worry about the stressful stuff. But when you're a small studio, I mean, you can't really afford it.
You have to wear all the hats.
Yeah. So you said 10 years.
8 years actually.
8 years?
I think when I shut it down the studio, it was 8 years.
What happened? Why did you have to shut down?
I was getting very like frustrated. It was a kind of dark time for me. I got one of my partners, these guys that joined me at the beginning. He was moving to Canada to work in a studio there, like his dream job. And of course, I supported this very much. And then I started to, of course, I was very stressed because it's a lot of work. The load was very heavy. And I was getting frustrated because I was doing like less creative stuff and art and more like management stuff and take care of bills and not the fun stuff, you know?
Is that you would say a mistake from today's perspective, that you didn't hire, let's say, someone to manage the office? Or
I am not sure if it was a mistake because we are doing whatever we believe it was the right thing to do, you know?
At the time, yeah.
Of course, now if I had to do this again, I would do completely different because one of the things that taught me that I was trying to get into the TV show industry. And I realized how limited I was because, of course, I get the ideas. I was drawing the pitch Bibles and I got the story and everything, but I was missing exactly this guy, the executive producer. And I realized how I was trying to do that all my life, and I didn't know how to do that, and I didn't like to do that. So
it's self-awareness.
It came to a point that I was honest to myself. Okay, I can't do that anymore
because it just takes away all the joy from your work.
Exactly.
And then at the end you burn out, which is the worst.
Totally. I think I got like 2 times burnout along these 8 years.
What's your way? Like, I know people who got creative burnouts. Like, one would start drinking for a week. You know, like, did you have sort of like a release mechanism when you were like, fuck it, like I'm done?
The second one I have, it was basketball.
You just went to play basketball, no animation, no work, nothing.
The first contact that I had with basketball, it was on my high school. But it was like during the classes, like physical education. So a couple times a week, you can do a sport.
Yeah.
And you do basketball, but you don't have coach, you don't have teacher, you are just find some people that like it, because in Brazil it's not that common.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like basketball, it's not very
soccer.
Big sport. But actually Brazil national team is not bad.
No.
Like I remember from Olympics, I think Lithuania played Brazil a few times, and they're not bad. I mean, you have good players. I wouldn't probably be able now to mention one surname.
Nowadays we have like Nene, it's not played anymore. Caboclo, Didi. We had Splinter on Spurs. We have the center of Chicago Bulls, Felicio.
So you have people like
we have a lot of
NBA,
Brazilians in NBA nowadays. But at this time we didn't have much.
Okay.
But we have like a national hero, Oscar Schmidt. He is a very funny guy. And the national team, I don't know if it was in the 80s or like 79. It was a Pan-American competition that they beat the United States. Yeah.
Brazil beat United States?
Yes. At this time, I think it was the peak of our basketball. It was that time.
Pan America is both.
I think it's
South
North
America.
Central, and South America. And then at this time, basketball was like the second sport in Brazil. It was soccer always, and then basketball. But even so, you don't have like public courts to play. So you don't have access to that. I get into basketball at the time of high school because I couldn't do any other sport. And basketball, I found these guys at the school with an orange ball, and then we keep playing like with no compromise, and we tried to mimic what we saw in NBA. Yeah. That was very limited as well, because we don't have much channels, and we have like one game per week, maybe.
How come football never came into your life, or it did?
My father played football. He tried so many times, but I couldn't play. I didn't like it, and I didn't like any other sport. So
just basketball.
I think that's why I became a nerd, because I couldn't do any sports. And on the town that I grew up, we don't really have any option, any option, unless football. Because
football you can play anywhere.
I keep
right?
saying football because in Brazil you call it football, but here they call soccer. But you can play anywhere, on the streets, and of course I played it when I was a kid.
In Malta it's football. Soccer is only in North America, I think they call it, right?
Yeah, in Malta it's football.
Yeah. Football club.
I didn't know that.
Because as far as I know, in Europe, football is football.
The foot.
Yeah, and Americans call it soccer because they have American football. So it's not.
It doesn't make sense.
I don't know, but
then after that, I spent like 18 years, 20 years without touching basketball. And then came to this point that I was coming back from a business meeting, and I passed through this street inside the neighborhood, and there was this banner, something like basketball for adults. It was like a basketball school. And then I met this guy, the teacher, the coach, and actually he don't have adults playing at the time. They use it was like a sports school. They have basketball, but they operate inside a school, a real school, a regular school.
Yeah.
But they like rented the courts of the school, and they used to do classes over there. But of course, when I saw basketball for adults, I was, oh my God, I love basketball. I don't know how to play it, but I love it. And then I called it immediately from the street, and I set an appointment, and then I met this guy. I said, okay, I want to do that no matter what. I need to do some. I didn't do any sport at the time, so I was very
physical activity basically.
Big. I was
zero.
heavy. Yeah, 0. Stressed, burnout. And then I started playing with the teenagers because it was the only option. But this guy, he became like a brother for me. This guy taught me basketball from the scratch, fundamentals. So I started playing basketball with 35 years.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I'm
very
slow, heavy, and I'm not. You know how I am on the court.
No, but that's the thing. Like, I know how you are, and I know your range. I know the spots that you shoot well from. Like, you have your certain areas on the court where you're very confident with your shot. Because we didn't mention, but we played together. So, I mean,
I used to play better because at the time we have this, and then with the time, like the same year, I guess, more adults start coming. And then but we don't have like a team. It was like a school, actually. We play inside the time that we have, but we did a lot of fundamentals and physical. So I lost a lot of weight. But since we have a lot of training, I used to play better. I had some handles and everything. But since I was old, I couldn't compete with like the teenagers and the youngest people. So
it's not old, man. 35, it's not old. Don't say this, please.
No, it is old to start playing basketball.
No, to start, yeah. But like physically, you're still fit. Like you're okay. Like you're not hurting. Like your knees don't hurt yet.
Of course. But shooting was something that I was engaged immediately because it was the way I could compete with them, and I like to shoot.
Yeah.
So, and then I played with these guys for 5 years, I guess, until I came to Malta. And then when I landed here, I stopped all the training, I don't practice anymore, any practice. Just playing our games that we used to play in Marsa.
And when you came to Malta, you found basketball straight away here.
I found it before. It was okay. I will move countries. I have to find a way to keep playing basketball. I can't stop this because I love this so much. And then I found the guys at Marsa, and then the guy, Gabriel, I guess at the time, just come and it's open, you can play and whatever. And then I met Miguel and the Portuguese guy, Alex, that is not here anymore.
He comes sometimes, so we still have catch-up games. Alex,
No, Alex from Serbia.
So not the same Alex we were thinking of. Okay.
And then I start knowing everybody, and then we built that team for that league, and it was a very nice time. Now I just play with you, but
pick up games.
Basketball taught me a lot of stuff. First, the burnout, it helped me a lot with many things, and even things I learned from the court, I start taking out of the court and applying on business and a lot of stuff. Because since I was always was the oldest playing, I kind of, even I am not that, I don't have handles and in basketball intelligence, this kind of stuff. I had this kind of leadership spirit always. So I have somehow people listen to me, so I was very good to keep people together, so I take this outside of the court and start applying that to. That's why I like to do this management stuff today, because
and I feel like the skill comes with an age.
Yeah, for sure. Experience.
At 20 you cannot have the leadership skill, like you might try, but just because you don't have life experience in general, it's very hard, I think.
Yeah, and I saw people on the court losing their heads for the referees and say, calm down. So I was on a stage that I didn't do this kind of stuff anymore, because I know how to think, how to approach a referee. How to understand what the other team is trying to do to unbalance our team. So this kind of small stuff, But it was we were talking about stress on work, and this is one of the times that basketball came into my life and saved me from this.
I think every sport, any sport, helps a lot with stress.
Yeah, for sure.
Just as a release mechanism, to get some endorphins going, to move your body. It's just the positive sides. And I feel like there's a lot of people who suffer from depression, from stress-related illnesses, right? And I strongly believe that if people exercised more, you wouldn't need fucking Xanax, and take pills.
And basketball is, I don't know if you have this perception, but basketball is different from soccer, from football. Because in football, I always felt like excluded because I was not that good. But basketball embraced me. And I saw this happening every time. Even if you have a weaker team member.
You cover for him.
Yeah, the team balances for this guy, and this guy learns from the rest of the team. So it's something that embraces you, and teach you. Yeah. This is very different. Football is more individual, especially in Brazil, that everybody wants to be Pelé, Neymar, Ronaldinho. Everyone has to do their own show, so it's very individual. I don't like this kind of mindset.
It's it's funny. We mentioned Ronaldinho. It reminds me of my brother, because my brother used to play football, and he was very into football since he was like 10 to maybe like 15, a few years. And Ronaldinho was like his god. I remember he used to download videos, like compilations of Ronaldinho moves, how he pulls the ball and takes it back.
Ronaldinho, the one with the long hair.
Ronaldinho Gaucho.
Gaucho.
Yes.
Because we have
the guy who always smiles with a crooked. He has, I think, like crooked teeth or something. Yeah.
Because we have two Ronaldos.
Ronaldo, the one with the I forgot. Ronaldo. No.
One is bald, the other one has the long hair.
The bald one, I remember we used to have them, like for example, for a world championship of football, we used to get these catalogs and these cards. You buy a pack. There's 3 cards. There's a chewing gum and a popsicle, I think.
Yeah.
And we used to collect those cards. And I remember I got the Ronaldo card, and he was like Luis Nazario de Lima Ronaldo. I think like the full name. And I was like,
Brazil has really long names.
I was blown away. Like how many names he has, you know.
It's very
everyone calls him Ronaldo.
See, yeah.
But like the full name, I was like, what the hell, you know?
It's very common in Brazil.
Yeah. And but no, the other one, Ronaldinho, who played in Barcelona.
Yes.
You know, this guy was like
he's very good.
A god for my brother, and my brother was like learning all the moves, etc. You know, I mean, even in Lithuania, where football is very, let's say, low level, especially now. Brazilian football culture did like a massive impact. I remember people walking with the Brazil football jerseys, you know, like especially when there was like world championships, let's say. A lot of people supported Brazil because obviously you support the team who's gonna win the championship.
Of course,
you know?
Of course.
And I don't know how many times they won. I mean, Brazil is probably number 1.
It's 5 times.
Yeah. So
5 World Cups.
Yeah. Okay. And I wanted to talk with you about the time when you moved to Malta, because obviously you brought so much experience already from Brazil. You moved here. You said you found basketball before you came, which is the most important thing, obviously.
Of course.
and then how did your like professional journey, you know, started here? You came here already having an offer somewhere in a company?
Yes.
Okay.
After I shut down the studio and I got into that dark times, I was thinking I was done already. I had nowhere to go professionally because I was very frustrated. Of course, we always have places to go. And then that's the time I started getting more specialized in character animation, because I want to do this big move, because it was, for me, in my head, it was like the only way possible, because in Brazil I have done everything and I don't have anywhere to go. So my next step, logical step, it would be like specialize in character animation and try to go to US or Canada, because it is where the big industry is. In Brazil, we used to love North America stuff. If you think about the geography, we are kind of isolated on South America.
Because there's
we are the
mountains.
No, because culturally.
Okay.
We are the only country on South America that doesn't speak Spanish.
Oh yeah, you speak Portuguese.
Yeah, we are very like separated, and Brazilian people love to copy U.S. culture and this kind of stuff.
And for you, it's quite easy to get the visa, I guess, to go to United States, right?
Yes, it's easy. So the logical, if I have to move out to Brazil, the logical place to go is North America. So that was the plan. But at the same time, I started investing more in social network, boosting up my LinkedIn, and then I started doing connections. And at the same time, I was putting my work out there, like more exposition of my work and etc. And then I met this guy that was a recruiter for this iGame company here. And then after I sent him like a thank you message for he has accepted my request. And he asked me, and it was something very generic, like, thank you for accepting me. I hope we can be in touch for future opportunities. And then he replied back, when it is this future that you are talking about? So, and then I replied back, when you say it is. And then we start talking. I sent them my demo reel. And then like 2 weeks after, he made me an offer to come.
Relocation package, everything included?
Everything, including the family. Everything.
Yeah.
And then it was it. I didn't even think it too much because it was something that I really like it.
Did you go like,
do.
What's Malta? But
of course,
you know
everybody
Malta?
does
No?
that. Yes.
I mean, you knew Malta from geography,
No,
you had no idea what it is?
I knew from the Bible. Can you believe it?
From the Bible?
Yes.
Is it it's mentioned in the Bible somewhere?
Yes.
Okay.
There is a passage that St. Paul's. Of course, you know.
Yeah.
That is this passage that he is going to Rome, I guess, and that is the storm. And
we have the shipwreck,
the wreckage,
day, right?
The wreckage, and then some versions of the Bible actually says the name Malta.
Okay.
Some versions say it's an island, a random island, but some versions say it's Malta.
Because before it used to be called Melita.
Melita, yeah. And then so, oh my God, I remembered. I start Googling Malta, and then I saw the link between St. Paul's and this story. And then I researched my. Oh my God!
This is the God's will for me to go to Malta.
It's a message from above. And then it looks nice. And my wife at the time, she was very. She was feeling it was the time that we can move such a move because I have already 2 kids. They were getting to teenage years, hard years.
So it's either
for everybody.
now or never.
Exactly. And I was getting to the 40s. And then I had this thinking in the back of my head that I was done already. And then I put this all together and I say, if it's a time, if there is a time to do that, it's now. So let's go. Whatever Malta is, let's go. And we came and we love it here.
But it wasn't like in Brazil it was bad. I'm talking more about like economy, possibilities for your kids, etc. I know it's pretty bad in certain areas, I guess. Like maybe big cities are not that bad, but certain areas.
The big cities are the baddest.
Oh, really? The worst?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because you have urban, you have poverty, you have the favelas, you have big city problems. And I was in kind of a big city. My family, mother and father, and my wife's she's from the same city. We still have relatives there, so the kids could go like twice per year and spend a lot of time with them. So it was a nice thing, but it was a mixture of things. First, it was I want to do one more step in my career and see what's there for me. But on the other side, we have the safety problem.
Yeah.
We never had actually problem, but people around us had many problems with safety. And it's like
robberies, you mean?
Robberies, violence.
Yeah, I heard you can get like stabbed for a mobile phone in let's say in Rio. Yep. I've seen videos where
not only Rio.
Like I mean everywhere, but I've seen videos from I think it was in Rio where just 2 guys on the scooter, they approach you like if you're walking.
It happens a lot.
They rob you, they might stab you as well, and they just go,
Yeah.
Or they actually, I've seen how they steal bikes. 2 guys on the scooter, they follow you if you're with your bike.
Yeah.
Then when you stop, they jump off, they punch you, and take the bike and just, I mean.
Yeah.
I know it's like you cannot say, oh, it's just in Brazil. They do it everywhere,
no,
probably.
But
the rate is probably very high in Brazil, right?
And after you left, you realize how much you are in constant an alert state. Like when we got here, it took me like 1 month, more than 1 month, to kind of relax,
to adjust,
to kind of walk on the streets without keep looking for everywhere if there is no one suspect.
And in Brazil, would you have something for your own safety, like I don't know, pepper gas, something with you? No, nothing.
No. Like I used to live in a good neighborhood, but you never get with your car, like especially at night, and stop in front of your house and open your gate. instantly. I used to do like a round around the quarter, the block, to see if there is no one hidden anywhere. Because it's very common that you stop your car, and when you are waiting for the gate to open, they approach you and
drag you out of the car,
or they steal your car, or worse, they go into your house, take your family as hostage, steal everything, and live in your own car.
And hopefully don't kill anyone.
It happened a lot. I know people that suffered it, like on the same street that I was living.
Wow. Okay.
So
because it was a good area, it was targeted by
but it happens
thieves.
a lot in many places, you know. So you have this tension every time that we're there. And when you are sleeping and you hear something strange, so oh my God, someone is breaking in. So you have this constant fear, you know.
And house police, are they trusted? Like if you call them,
you never know.
You have an issue,
it
they will
will
come?
take an age for them to come.
Okay.
Yeah, it's complex. And you have corruption, of course. It's not exclusive from Brazil. But it was not the reason that I left, of course. But you have this that makes the economy bad. And
there was some issues with president, I think, right?
Yeah,
Even
the last president.
Something.
Yeah, the last president was not that nice.
Was he corrupted, or because I remember it was something to do with young people leaving Brazil because there's no future, let's say. I think it was something political.
Brazil is very complicated political stuff, because before this guy Bolsonaro, there was this guy Lula that was in jail for corruption, and then he was released because he was too old and the process expired or whatever. But he's very, 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 very popular, very popular, and he is more focused. He's like a left wing. He's more focused on social stuff.
Okay.
So that's why he's very popular. The other one, the Bolsonaro, is very conservative. And the bad side is homophobia, this kind of stuff, guns, and very, very, I don't know the word, but he's very high conservative, you know?
Okay.
So the country today is very split, like 50-50. The elections are winning by 2 or 3 points of difference. And what happened? We have this guy before, the left guy, Lula. He was in jail. Then Bolsonaro came like an answer for this guy. And then it was so bad with Bolsonaro that this guy, after coming out of jail, he is president again. Yeah.
So people elected someone who was in jail?
Yes.
Okay.
And you have this, but this is a cycle that Brazil lives like forever since the beginning. So
and COVID time was really bad in Brazil. Like it was managed really badly.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Because I don't remember exactly, but I know that a lot of people, like even the food was an issue in some areas just because everything stopped, you know.
It was a completely mess. Completely mess. But the supporters of Bolsonaro think he did a great job.
Of course,
and the other 50% knows he didn't. And Brazil is always on this complicated cycle that left and right. And we have this thinking of the Superman, like one guy will save the country. So people put all their responsibility on this guy. But this guy is just a president. He doesn't do anything.
It's just one person.
Yeah, he depends on the Congress. That depends on the other politics. And if this amount of politics are corrupted, it doesn't matter who is the president because it's all linked together. So politically, Brazil is a completely mess. So
and as a father, do you see future for your kids in Brazil?
No. That was one of the reasons also. I want to offer my kids something different from Brazilian culture. Not culture in terms of music and traditions and this kind of stuff, but the mindset of the general Brazilian is not something that I fit. You know, I always felt like isolated in a certain way because I don't agree with a lot of stuff. I don't like many of the stuff that they have. They are very similar with Maltese in some aspects. So it's a mixture of things. And these new opportunities that I could offer to my kids, I put it all together, and it was like the time to go. Then I came.
This is very interesting. Like I think often about this. Like you said, you were in this small town, right? Pretty isolated. You didn't even have like proper technology and nothing, communication, etc. But I always wonder, like, for example, in your case, where this understanding and curiosity came, especially understanding that, here I'm so limited and I need to move on, I understand as a kid, maybe you didn't realize, but at certain age, and it's, the interesting point is for me, like, for example, what do you think? Like, does it come from parents? Maybe your parents kept telling you this is not everything, like if you go somewhere else, like Brazil is not like the best country in the world, because some parents would say that, because they're just patriotic for their country, and they want the kids to be patriotic, and they will be like, there's bad stuff, but we're Brazilian, so we stay in Brazil. And for you, that realization came that somewhere else it's better. And obviously when you have kids, your mindset changes, so then you start thinking what's better for them as well. What do you think? Like, was that coming from your family, or you just realized on your own somehow that this is not everything in life, like this, there's more?
This didn't came exactly from my parents, but I blame my parents for nurturing my creative side, because my mother was a Portuguese teacher, so I was surrounded by paper, because she used a lot of paper to do the tests and the exam for the students, a lot of books. My father was a pharmacist, and my early memories of my father is he was drawing a horse with me. So he was not an artist, but I have several memories of him trying to do some kind of art.
Okay.
So in my house, and of course my mother, she likes to sing, she used to paint as well, and she likes literature, this kind of stuff. So inside my house, there always had a lot of different creative stuff available. We have a big backyard with a lot of trash, not trash, rubbish, but wood and cardboard and tools from my father, and a lot of options. So they never stopped me to explore anything.
That's the most important, I think.
Yeah,
as a kid, not to be, don't do this,
Exactly.
That's the worst thing you can do.
And
for
everything
a kid.
I wanted to try, like the paints of my mother. My father used to take me with him to work, and at the backside of the pharmacy, they have a lot of the medicine boxes that they don't use it, so they discarded it. So they have like boxes with these small boxes, and my father give this kind of stuff to me, so I can build stuff with the small boxes.
Okay.
So there is always something creative happening in my house, and everything I want to try, I had the door open. So this is exactly the same that I do with I try to do with my daughters. I give them a lot of options. They pick what they want, and at least it worked with my oldest one that is going to the art path as well.
The younger one, that's a disappointment.
No, not at all. She's doing art, but with people. She's doing like beauty specialist.
Okay, beautician. Okay.
Yeah,
it's an art in itself.
Still creative.
Right?
Yeah, it's still creative stuff.
Yeah. My wife used to do it a bit. So
my wife is very creative as well. She likes to cook. She likes to do handcrafted stuff. She used to have her own brand in Brazil of jewelry. And she works
like handmade jewelry.
Yeah, and she designed the pieces and traveled to the fabrics or to the
factories
to get them done. She was always very creative.
So she was like actually mass producing. It wasn't like handcrafted one.
No, it was not a mass production. She was doing like one by one. Yeah.
Which is as
she loves it.
tedious as motion. Stop motion.
Exactly.
Kind of thing, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it was not an incentive of my father's to leave the country or for looking for more, but I guess it was more. I was always guided by curiosity. What can I do with that? I look back to my life and I see the many points that I have that I need to adapt to what I have at the moment. And from that adaptation, it brought more options to do like creative stuff. So I got involved with art, with drawing, with music, with photography.
Music? You did music?
Yes.
Like singing, like
playing.
Playing.
I started playing.
What do you play?
Bass guitar.
Really? You still play?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Because I play, well, not bass, I play guitar, and I did 6 years accordion.
Oh,
and
nice.
accordion is pretty popular actually in South America, especially like Argentina, you know, tango stuff.
Yeah.
They play on
the
accordion.
north of Brazil, they have a very, very specific style that use a lot of accordion.
But I did 6 years. It was my mother's initiative, you know, because we had an accordion at home. She played it because when she was young, my grandparents, her parents, took her to play cello. But apparently, for celloists, you have to have a certain length of the pinky. If your pinky is too short, you cannot play the whole scale. I don't know how you say it, but like
Scale.
you cannot reach certain notes, and cello is out of the question.
I didn't know that.
And it was too short, and she couldn't play. So they had the accordion at home, and her parents just said, "Let's do accordion," you know. So she played a bit, but obviously then she didn't force me, but it was the only instrument we had, and I was a kid, so I didn't have any say. So I was like, yeah, okay. And for 6 years I went. I did some like competitions. Like I was at quite a good level at certain point. Right now, if you gave me an accordion, I wouldn't be able to play one music piece that I knew. You know, no way, because I haven't touched it for like 5 years, maybe more. But yeah, and then guitar.
I have
guitar self-taught. I don't know about the bass. Self-taught as well.
Self-taught, yeah. I had this friend when we were kids. He was like a pianist, and he used to do like the school for piano. I don't know the name, but at the time, at the same time, he did. He used to do classes of piano. He doesn't play piano today. He hates it.
Burnt
and I
out.
discovered because of that, his parents like forced him to do like the.
And piano is very specific. I don't know if it was like that for him, maybe in Brazil, but in Lithuania, I know a lot of piano teachers that were like, I'm sorry, but fucking Nazis, you know? You had to be straight. Yeah. Very, very particular.
You have a position.
And I know stories that they would be in a lesson, they made a mistake and they would get smacked on fingers.
I think we don't have this.
This is post-Soviet Union stuff, you know, that used to happen.
But I remember you have very specific techniques to change the fingers and to go
like
up and down the scale.
How you flip, etc. Same on accordion. I mean, because the keyboard is the same.
And at this time, I start taking classes with him because my mother and his mother were very close. So let's him teach Juliano. But I did that like I was going to play with him actually. So I studied very little bit of music theory, but I don't know. I can read a score
notation,
notation, but I can watch and play. But if I can be very slow, I know where the notes are. You know?
Can you jam just from like listening to, let's say you hear
on the bass
music and you tell the scale by your ear?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Or at least find it, right?
Yeah, find it for sure.
Okay, cool. And we should jam because I don't know if you know, Aki used to play drums.
No.
A lot.
No.
Yeah, he was in a band back in Canada. He was in a band.
Nice.
That's how he met his wife Zoe. Actually, she was the manager of their band.
Oh,
you know?
my God.
I don't know. Actually, I don't think he actually mentioned it on the podcast.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, because now I remember. Yeah, and he. I hope I can share this. He proposed to her on the stage in one of their gigs.
That's nice, man.
He showed me he has a video on YouTube.
So spoilers on part 2 for Aki.
Yes. But it's personal. But I'm sorry, Aki, if you if you didn't want me to share it, but it's done.
But at this time, music was not something. Oh, I love music. I want to learn it. I was just meeting with my friend, and he was trying to teach me because she needs to. Her mother making give classes.
We should
but then
jam.
later, I want to on my teenage years. Of course, every teenager wants to learn the guitar, how to play the guitar. But at this time, I have some friends that they had a band in the church, and I used to hang out with them all the time. And then I start getting more interest in music, in learning music and everything. But I was just following them, and not long after that, the bassist, the bass player, they had to move to another town, and they asked me, "Oh, John, don't you want to learn how to play the bass?" I said, "Okay, I want to play the guitar, but if you have the bass, let's play the bass. Let's play the bass." And it was like love at the first play.
Really?
I love it.
What did you like, the vibration? Because you probably sat on the amp.
Probably.
And you felt it with your body.
Probably. I can't tell, but maybe the groove. And then I start understanding how the band works, how the bass works inside the band together with the drums.
Yeah.
And then I play for many years. And that's where today, if you go to my living room, I have a complete set over there. I have a drum kit.
Electric?
Yes.
Of course. In the apartment, you don't want the acoustics.
Otherwise, the neighbors go crazy. And I have my bass, and I bought a guitar because I like the guitar as well.
Electric or acoustic?
I have an acoustic and an electric. I don't know how to play well. But that's part of the giving the kids options.
Yeah. That's
so
true.
I have even a keyboard. So whatever they want to play, try it and play, see if you like it. But I bought the drum kit because after playing so many years with the bass, the drums is something that I fell in love. So I bought it to learn. I don't have much time to practice, but I really want to go deeper on the drums.
It's funny. I took drumming lessons here, actually, because I wanted to buy electric kit as well. But I thought maybe I'll do some lessons and just see if I like it, It wasn't that I didn't like it, but the beginning is very dull. It's very basic, like the patterns that you have to play. And I don't know. And the baby was on the way. And I was just thinking, maybe it's not the right time,
Yeah.
Like there's so many resources online on YouTube, etc. I know I might not have the proper technique, maybe, but if I get the drum kit, I might just learn on my own, on my free time, from online resources rather than taking lessons. Lessons were very cool because
it helps
you're with
when
the person.
you have an idea of music already and you play something already. It helps you play any instrument because you have like the foundations.
And I produced music a lot of years, so I know how music works, but to play the instrument,
you have to practice.
Let's just say to keep a tempo. It seems much easier than it is.
Of course.
Because
of course.
In your brain you're like a clock, and then your hands go like it's
but
like
it's a hardware problem.
It's
just hardware.
You
have to get used to it.
But the guy who was giving me lessons, he's like one of the best drummers in Malta. So
nice.
He plays with a lot of bands here. He records a lot of like sessions.
Nice.
He has like a studio, everything.
One thing that I didn't like it on the electronic drums, it was the kick pedal.
Because the feedback is not the same as an acoustic.
Same. So what I did, I bought analogic, let's say.
Analog,
and I'm trying to adapt to have
you bought the
mechanical
pedal.
But
wait, on the electric, the default, like the stock pedal, it's not mechanic with the chain.
No.
So it's just like some plastic thing.
I think you have some models that you have like the mechanical, but the one I got, it was not mechanical. So I bought this one, and I am still trying to adapt, so it feels more natural.
Yeah, I think the feedback depends a lot actually because on the acoustic drums you hit a really big skin.
Yeah.
And on the electric, it's just the sensor pad that you hit, right?
It changed the acoustic.
So like the way it bounces back, it's different, because of the area. Okay. So you did music. I didn't know. Like I said, man, Aki drums. I play guitar or keys. I could. You play bass, man. We need just a vocalist.
We need to get a band going.
Yeah, it would be fun because Aki actually told me, man, I'm gonna buy an electric kit and we need to jam. Not play actual songs, just meet somewhere and jam.
Yeah, that's my favorite part.
Yeah.
People didn't like to rehearsal. That's my favorite part. That's where you can be creative and you are not on the stage. You can improvise. You can do a lot of stuff. That's my favorite part.
Yeah, we just need some space because you need a room or something, a garage. I don't know how they do it, but it would be fun.
For sure.
Okay. So Malta obviously safer than Brazil.
Obviously.
Much safer. And then
now I am afraid to go back to Brazil and to be too much relaxed.
Really? Okay. Do you visit often or?
No, I didn't came back yet. 5 years now.
5 years?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Every year something happened. Of course, 2 years, 2.5 years, it was because of pandemic. Nobody was taking flights from Brazil. So I could go to Brazil, but I was not sure if I can come back. So we didn't came. And last year, it was when Brazil finally was accepted to other countries. It was too much close of the date that we can travel because it depends on the school of the kids. It was too expensive. So no way we can go because it was 4 tickets.
Yeah,
it was
we should say that it costs a lot of money actually to fly.
And then we are trying to go this year.
Okay. So, just to kind of wrap things up, in Malta, when you started the first job, you're not at the same company, obviously, right? How many companies have you changed through in
this
5
company
years?
that hired me, I worked there like for 2 years, and then they shut down the studio. Then I moved to this company, also iGaming. And I stayed there for 2 years as well. But it was like a very small company. It was not that organized. And after these 2 years, I got this offer from Playing Go to be like team lead for the animation team. So they have an office here in Slima, but the animation team is in Budapest. And of course, work from home, remote, it was a thing already. And the company was like officially remote first. So it was not a problem. And
so the whole company is remote first?
Yeah.
Okay, but they still have space
they
where you
still
can
have,
go and work.
if you want to work there, you can go. Just set up a time.
And the name is Play and Go.
Play and Go.
I've seen that logo somewhere in Sliema, for sure.
They are one of the biggest on the iGaming. And I am still there, like 1.5 years, I guess.
Are you happy there?
Yeah. The company is amazing. The culture of the company and how they promote the relationships and how the teams work. They are very, very organized. And I came to this point that that is happening like a restructure of the animation department. So we are doing a lot of documentation. We are trying to, because they have offices in UK and Manila, in Budapest. So they are trying to unify the production, so everybody is doing like exactly the same processes. So we are working on that now.
And they only produce games.
Yeah.
Video games for betting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And
slot games.
Slot games, okay. And your team works on only the characters or like the whole game?
All the animation.
Okay. So even like when the slots spin,
that part is done by coding.
That's programmed. Yeah, that's
because
programmed.
It depends on the math model.
On the algorithms, yeah.
The algorithm, but everything that is moving, that's not code, is animated by hand.
And what do you use, for example, for that? Like software-wise, is it still Maya?
No. We use a software that is called Spine.
I heard that one, yeah. I haven't tried it, but I know.
It's heavily used in 2D games, not only slots, or any kind of games. 2D, it's heavily used, and we use After Effects for VFX.
Is it similar to like Grease Pen in Blender? You know Grease Pen? No.
Because Grease Pen is hand drawn, like traditional. Spine
but it's
is
in
more
3D space, which was like when I tried it.
It can be, yeah.
I was like you draw something and then you can literally like flip it in 3D.
It's kind of After Effects 3D layers.
Okay.
But mine is flat. It's pieces that you can cut from the object or the character. Then you can create like a skeleton and you manipulate this skeleton.
Okay. And like future-wise, what do you think? Is there space for you to move in the company? Yeah,
I think so.
Because now you're managing team, so I don't know, like, what would be the next step to become like head of the whole department, or?
Nah, to be honest, I don't know.
I
think they are very open
of,
because we are restructuring, so a new position can come out to the structure, copy into the structure. But yeah, you can always expand what you are doing. Like when I landed on the company, I started doing workshops and training with my team, and then you can get all other teams together to workshop. So you can have like this learning branch inside the company.
Okay.
So you can expand yourself.
Okay.
Inside.
Okay. That's cool. Good, man. I think we're gonna wrap up. Thanks so much for sharing this and for spending time on Sunday, which you could have spent with your family, you know. I appreciate the effort, but it was really interesting. I really wanted to talk to you, as I said, like for a few weeks right now, and finally we did it, so I'm really glad. Thanks, man. Thank you.
Thank you very much.